Greetings, candidates, and welcome back to the lesson. The chapter is environmental analysis. In our last session, we defined environmental analysis. Then we studied the macro and micro environments. Today, we move on to another section of this topic, which is internal environment. Internal environment. Candidates, an organization's internal environment is composed of the elements within the organization. Internal, inside. The elements within the organization, including employees, management, corporate culture, which defines employees' behavior, and so on. So today, candidates, you are going to study some of the components that comprise the internal environment of an organization, beginning with the organization's mission. Number one, the mission statement. Mission statement. We begin with the mission statement. Now, an organization's mission statement describes what the organization stands for and why the organization exists. In other words, it explains the overall purpose of the organization and includes the attributes that the attributes that are put on paper. And a statement, candidate, is more than just the words that are put on a piece of paper. A mission should reveal a company's philosophy as well as its purpose. The declaration of a mission should be a living, breathing document that provides information and inspiration for the members of the organization. And it should answer the questions like, what are our values? What do we stand for, and so on. So a mission statement is one of most important components of the internal environment of an organization. And effective mission statements leads to effective efforts. All right? If a company has an effective statement, then that statement helps the company achieve its purpose or vision, as the case may be. Mission statement. Number two, company policies. The policies of a company. These are the guidelines that govern how certain organization situations are addressed. All right? There are guidelines. Company could have a policy on management of, say, inventories. There could be a policy on fixed assets. There could be a policy on management of debtors, and so on. All right? And just as we've seen institutions maintaining policies to provide guidance to managers. Okay? So policies provide guidance to managers on how to make decisions about circumstances that may frequently occur within an organization. So company policies are an indication of an organization's personality and should coincide with the company's mission statement. So policies are guidelines. Then related to company policies, we have formal structures. 3, formal structures. Formal structures. Now, the formal structure of an organization is the hierarchical arrangement of tasks and people. And the structure determines how information flows within the organization, which It also shows which departments are responsible for which activities and where the decision-making power rests. Formal structure, organizational structure. And there are organizations that use a chart to simplify the breakdown of the formal structure. It is a chart is just a pictorial display of the official lines of authority and communication within the organization. So formal structure is a component of internal environment of a company. Number 4, organizational culture. Organizational culture. Now, candidates, the organizational culture is what I may term as an organization's personality, which distinguishes it from others. And this culture also shapes the actions of its members. This is the organization's personality. All right? And some of the components of organizational culture, we have values, we have heroes, culture. We may also have what we call rituals. Companies also have rituals, or what we call rights. This form part of organizational culture. Social network, and so on. These are things that give an organization its personality. And candidates, we know values are just the basic beliefs that define employees' success in an organization. For example, many universities place high values on professors and so on. Then we've seen in institutions of learning, if a faculty member is published in a professional journal, for example, his or her chances of receiving tenure may be enhanced. All right? Value, what the company values most. Different companies have different values. There are those that value things like innovation, creativity, and so on. All right? Then heroes and heroines also form part of organizational culture. A hero is an exemplary person who reflects the image, the attitudes, or the values of an organization. A hero is a role model to employees. A hero is sometimes, candidates, the founder of an organization, and sometimes it may not necessarily be the founder, all right? But at times could be the founder of an organization. It could just be a normal employee who could be a hero. It can be any worker within the organization. Then part of organizational culture, we have rituals, we have rights. Rituals, rights. What are these rights? Now, these are just the routines or the ceremonies that the company uses to recognize, for example, high-performing employees and so on. So that we have companies that have award banquets, we have company gatherings, companies have quarterly meetings that can acknowledge distinguished employees for outstanding service, where employees are honored. And that is to exemplify and inspire all employees of the company during the rest of the year. Towards the end of the year, there are companies that throw parties to there are those that take managers on paid holiday. So companies have different rituals which form part of organizational culture. The purpose is to exemplify and inspire all the other employees of the company during the rest of the year. Another component of culture is a social network. Social network is sometimes referred to as the company's grapevine. Company's grapevine. And this social network carries the stories of both the heroes and those who also may have failed. And it is through the social network that employees really learn about an organization's culture and values. Social network. So these are just some of the components that form an organizational culture. And this organization is a component of the internal environment. Then the fifth component of internal environment, number 5, organizational climate. The climate. Organizational climate, candidates, is just a byproduct of company's culture, and it is the overall tone of the workplace and the morale of its workers. Okay? The tone of the workplace and the morale of workers, those are just elements of the daily climate of an organization. The workers' attitudes, candidates, dictate the positive or the negative atmosphere of the workplace. And the daily relationships and interactions of employees are indicative of an organization's climate. The climate, is it conducive? Is it positive? Is it negative? What kind of climate is it? And we're saying organizational climate is a byproduct of all these aspects, organizational culture. Another key component of internal environment, number 6, resources. 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 Now, resources, candidates, are just the people, the information, the facilities, the infrastructure, the machinery, the equipment, the supplies, the finances that are at an organization's disposal. And people are the paramount resource of all organizations. People. That's a key component, paramount component of an organization's resources. There are many resources which I've mentioned, but people or employees, these are the most paramount resource that a company can have. And resources like information, facilities, machinery, equipment, material, supplies, those are just supporting. They are non-human resources that complement workers in their quest to accomplish an organization's mission. So the paramount resource is people. These other resources are just supportive. These are things that people use in order to accomplish the statement, the mission of a company. So the availability of resources and the way the managers value the human and the non-human resources impact the organization's internal environment. Number 7, managerial philosophy. Managerial philosophy. Now, the philosophy of management is the manager's set of personal beliefs and values about people and work. All right? It is just a personal belief. Philosophy is a personal belief. Managerial philosophy is a personal belief that a manager has in regard to people, about work, and so on. And managerial philosophy is something that the manager can control, is within the control of the manager. And McGregor candidates emphasized that there is something that a manager can do. He emphasized that a manager's philosophy creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. He came up with the Theory X, which he termed as Theory X managers who treat employees almost like children, who need constant direction. While Theory Y managers treat employees as competent adults who are capable of participating in work-related decisions. All right? And such managerial philosophies candidates they have a subsequent effect on employee behavior, which leads to self-fulfilling prophecy. That's according to McGregor. And as a result, candidates, organizational philosophies and managerial philosophies need to be in harmony. All right? Organizational philosophies and managerial philosophies ought to be in harmony. If not, then the mission of a company may not be fulfilled. Number 8, managerial leadership styles. Managerial leadership styles. This is another internal environment component. The style of leadership. There are many different styles of leadership. We may have a democratic style of leadership. We could have a dictatorial style of leadership. We have laissez-faire style of leadership. So the style that a manager adopts in leading an organization forms part of the internal environment. There are those managers who adopt a democratic style of leadership. That will impact different on the employees if the manager was to use a dictatorial style of leadership. And previously, candidates, we studied all these styles. We saw how or when to use a democratic style of leadership. When do you apply a democratic style of leadership, laissez-faire, that we studied. And that candidates forms part of the internal environment of an organization. So these are some of the components or factors or forces of internal environment. And when carrying out environment analysis, candidates, it's important that a manager or the strategist considers all these and many more other factors, beginning with the mission statement. The company policies should be analyzed, formal structures, organizational culture. Organizational culture, for example, candidates can either be a strength or it can be a weakness. The organizational climate can be a strength, it can be a weakness. Resources. A company that has many resources at its disposal, for example, financial resources, then that could be a strength to the company. A company that has skilled labor force, that is a strength. But a company that does not have trained employees, then that could be viewed as a weakness. Managerial philosophy is also an internal component of an organization, as well as managerial leadership style. So these are some of the components of internal environment of an organization. We'll be studying more of these when we be looking at the tools of environmental analysis. In our next session, we will be studying some of the tools of environmental analysis, like the SWOT, the PESTEL, the gap analysis, and so on. On that note, we come to the end of today's lesson. I'll give you one question. Discuss 5 components of the internal environment of an organization. That is your today's assignment. Make sure the assignment is done before you attend our next session. Bye-bye.